It's going live. So we are live right now.
Yay, we're live.
So just whenever you're talking, try to look at the camera.
You just said that on the live. Gee, I can tell who's in charge tonight. Oh, gosh.
I'm going to do a chat.
Hello, everyone. Yay. This is fun. So, what's up, people? How we doing tonight? Feel free to post things in the chat because that's the only way we know if you're here.
So, in case you're wondering, I'm Tim, and this is...
I'm Holly, as far as I know.
And we're just going to give everybody a few minutes to get logged in, see if we can get some folks along. And if we don't get people soon, we'll just go ahead and get started.
People will be dropping in.
Yeah.
I think as we start to do more lives, we're probably going to get to the point that, you know, we make it a regularly scheduled thing. That's kind of the plan. And that way everybody will know when and where to, you know, find us.
But I wanted to put that little chat out there so people feel free to engage right away if that's what you know. We will try to get in touch with you as soon as we can. But if you've got a question right away, please feel free to ask.
Yes, please do.
And if we don't know, we'll just tell you we don't know.
And it's very possible that we don't know because there's a lot of stuff we don't know. Oh gosh. But yeah, it's been a fun week.
Yeah.
I've been on spring break this week, but spring break for me means that Tim has had extra projects.
It's more like spring project list for me, you know?
Yep.
Spring home improvement.
But we'll be sharing about that in a future video. So we're not going to say too much, but we've been working on what I think is one of the coolest projects that we've done in a while. Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Wish we could show it to you now. It's just not ready yet.
Not ready. And, you know, we're going to, like I said, do a whole video about it.
Yeah. And we're so close too.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's about 4 minutes after. Is your clock right in here?
Yeah, my clock is on point here.
On point.
Yeah, I always follow the computer clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll give it like until it's 5 after. And then we'll go ahead and start with our topic, which we're excited about.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Hopefully it will engage some people and hopefully start some discussion. That's kind of the goal. Whew, it's hot tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Do you want me to change the temperature real quick while we got that last? Well, there it goes.
Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It's just warm. It got warm in Georgia, but then it's going to be cold again.
So you want open, babe?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So, you know, we don't necessarily watch a ton of TV, except we watch a lot of YouTube and some other stuff here and there, but we don't watch a lot of like the latest movies and stuff like that. But every once in a while we do. And we had heard that this weekend is the Oscars. And we just started discussing this idea that, you know, disability in the media has either been portrayed in certain ways or maybe not at all or whatever. And so we just thought we would examine the Oscars, so to speak, and see if we could, you know, figure out some things. So I guess the first thing is, you know, just a question, and that is, did you know that over the history of the Oscars, far more people have won awards for pretending to have disabilities than people with disabilities have won for their acting. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Not until
Hmm.
today.
Yeah, yeah. So the reason we're specifically zeroing in on the Oscars is, of course, because, like I said, this weekend is the Oscars, and I guess they're sort of like the pinnacle
Hmm.
for success, if you will,
Yeah.
because they represent really the highest recognition in film. But yet we see that disability representation,
Hmm.
like I said, has either been inaccurate or it's been stereotyped or it's been performed by non-disabled actors and
Yeah.
actresses. So tonight we're kind of going to look at three things. You want to
Yeah.
cover what those three things are?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about famous Oscar roles portraying disability,
Mm-hmm.
actors with real disabilities who have been nominated or won,
Mm-hmm.
and what Hollywood could do better going forward.
Yeah, so those are the three things. And I guess it kind of makes sense to start with the history, I
Hmm.
suppose.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided to just look back throughout the history of the Oscars. And we discovered that from like the beginning of the Oscars, I don't remember when the first one was. Do you remember?
Let me see if I can find it on ChatGPT.
Yeah, ask our buddy
Actually, yeah.
ChatGPT.
Actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to use my phone app
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier and quicker to get into.
But yeah, the Oscars have been a thing for many, many years. I mean, several decades. And we had to go dig in to find some, movies that we thought fit the bill, so to speak. What you finding?
Says the Oscars began in 1929.
So 1929.
Wow, that was the close to the uh, that was that was actually the very beginning of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we had to go back a long ways and we found some um well-known roles where
Hmm.
disability was central to the story, but
Hmm.
anyway, you're the history buff. You want to take this one?
Oh, I was going to do the next one, but I don't mind to start if you like do the next section there. But yeah, we'll start not too far in the past, 2014, with a theory of everything.
And this one is interesting because supposedly it's based on a true story,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
And the character that was played was Stephen Hawking. The disease was ALS, which did you say that that's like a severe form of SMA?
It's not a form of SMA, but it's like a very severe cousin of
Hmm.
SMA, and it's really debilitating condition
Yeah.
very rapidly. It usually progresses super quickly. So
Yeah.
the fact that Stephen Hawking lived as long as he did was truly miraculous. It was amazing.
The actor who portrayed Stephen Hawking was Eddie Redmayne, and he won the Best Actor. But Eddie Redmayne is not disabled.
Yeah, he was not a disabled. He played one of the most famous scientists in history,
Hmm.
but he himself was not disabled. So
Yep.
anyway, that was interesting.
And then there was another one back in 1989 called My Left Foot. The
Hmm.
actor was played by Daniel Day-Lewis. Now, if you've heard that name before, you know he was really popular as Nathaniel in Last of the Mohicans.
Hmm.
And the character he played was Christy Brown, which was the disability that Christy Brown had was cerebral palsy. And
Oh,
he won
okay.
Best Actor.
Okay. I've actually not seen this movie.
Mhm.
Have you seen it?
No, I've not seen that movie. I've seen Last of the Mohicans, and he also
Hmm.
played in Lincoln, and he was
Hmm.
very good in Lincoln too.
Hmm. And that movie he played Lincoln, didn't he?
Yeah, he played Lincoln.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
name of the movie was called Lincoln.
Yeah. Yeah. But he played him. Yeah. Okay.
And
So any
then
more?
also in 1989, there was a movie called Born on the 4th of July.
That's pretty popular.
And the
Hmm.
actor there was Tom Cruise.
Hmm.
Tom Cruise played Ron Kovic, who was a paralyzed Vietnam veteran,
Hmm.
and he won an Oscar nomination.
Okay. We don't know. I don't think he actually won. Did he win the actual award, or he just got the nomination? Do we know?
I'd have to chat GPT it, but usually if I hear Oscar nomination, it means he did not win. He was just a good contender.
I think you're right, but I'm not sure either. Yep. So we're kind of learning as we go, looking stuff up, hanging out with y'all. So what we got?
Did Tom Cruise win an Oscar in 1989?
It's thinking. If you guys know, put it in the chat. We can move on.
Broke the chat, yes.
Broke the chat.
I think I put it in the wrong place. I don't really know. Okay.
I think you're right, though. I think you just won the nomination.
Yeah.
So what about like something further back?
So in 1946, The Best Years of Our Lives, and we'll be touching on this again.
Yeah.
The character the actor played a veteran with hooks for hands. He actually did have a disability.
Yeah. So that was interesting. That particular actor, even though it was in the 40s, he actually did have a disability. So
yeah,
interesting.
And then there were some people that played some sensory disabilities. Children of a Lesser God, 1986, was a deaf character. Miracle Worker in 1962. It says Helen Keller. I don't know if Helen Keller was the actor or somebody played Helen Keller.
If I'm remembering correctly, I don't believe she actually played in the movie. I don't think the time
Helen
frame
Keller was much older than 1962.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think the time frame works, but I probably should have looked into that a little bit more. But yeah.
And then there's The Sound of Metal in 2019, where the character loses hearing. And obviously, the person doesn't lose hearing while on the set, I don't think.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie?
No, but I have not seen that one. But I am curious about that.
Yeah, I'm a little curious about that too. All right.
Yeah, there's some cognitive ones like neurological disabilities. 1994, Forrest Gump.
Everybody
was played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's an amazing movie. It's still in my definitely my top 10, maybe my top 5 movies of all time. Great movie.
Yeah. He has intellectual disability, but we don't really know what it is exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever discussed specifically, but you know, we see the clear portrayal of an intellectual disability.
And then there's Rain Man, which was 1988, where autism was portrayed.
That's also really a popular movie.
Oh, and I saw this movie a while back, and it is crazy, but it's like super good. A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, that's an amazing
That
movie.
was acted by Russell Crowe, who played a person who had schizophrenia.
Oh, that was Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Russell Crowe.
Okay.
Well, I watched it enough times where I knew.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, but I know that was an amazing movie too, and it's a really powerful portrayal of someone with schizophrenia.
I actually showed it to Holly one time, and she was like blown away by it. And then there was, and so did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, I guess let's see. Let's check in with our viewers. We got any viewers over there?
No, not yet, but thank you for asking.
All right.
So about how many of these roles were played by actors who actually had a disability?
Almost none. I think out of all the ones that you mentioned, the only one that I know for sure was the man with no hands.
Yeah. And we'll be coming back to that.
Yeah.
Now, here we're doing a turn, and we're going to cover people who were either Oscar winners or nominees who actually did have disabilities.
Yeah, and this is really cool because they are authentic representation.
Yeah, I think that is really cool because you just can't substitute what's real, you know?
Yeah, when a person actually has a disability that they are portraying or similar to it, it's a big difference, you know, that you can, I mean, there's just, you can't beat the authenticity, like you said.
In 1946, and I know most of us, unless we were born in like the 50s or later, unless we were born around like the 50s or so, there was an actor known as Harold Russell who played in The Best Years of Our Lives. He actually played a sailor whose hands were, he lost his hands in World War II. If I remember right, this actor actually did lose his hands in World War II.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if you were going to get to this later, but is this the one where he actually won two?
Yes.
Are you going to get to that
Yes,
later?
it's fine. So Holly and I were talking about this last night. What happened was I did a little poking around on Wikipedia to try to find out more about him. But basically, he had lost his hands in World War II, and then he did an acting role where he was basically playing a character whose hands were lost over in World War II again. And in this one, Best Years of Our Lives, he actually won a honorary Oscar, and then he later won the actual Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
And
So
why was it that he won the honorary?
From what I've read, most people at that time did not believe that a disabled person could actually win an Oscar. And one of the issues that kind of bothered him was that he kind of realized that unless he was constantly playing a disabled person who lost his hands in World War II over and over again, and people might get tired of that, that it was best for him to find a career someplace else. So he pursued business.
Interesting. Yeah. And so what was really interesting though about that situation is that even though they weren't sure if he would actually win an Oscar, he was awarded the honorary Oscar, but then he went on to actually win it.
Yeah.
So he got 2 Oscars for the same role.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand too, because he felt like he was being sort of pigeonholed into a specific stereotype.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then there's another one called Marlee Matlin. This is a woman. Matlin, sorry.
Yeah.
She played the role of Children of a Lesser God in 1986, and she won Best Actress. She was also a deaf actress, and oh gosh, if you look at the list of things she was involved in, it was so much.
Yeah, Marlee Matlin was sort of a rock star in the 80s and early 90s, especially for championing the cause for disability representation in the media, especially in film.
Yeah.
And she was just really amazing.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. She's incredible. So if you've never seen a movie with Marlee Matlin, you should.
Yeah. And then the next one we'll talk about is a guy by the name of Troy Kotsur. Is that how the name is pronounced?
I actually don't know how to say his name.
Okay. It's Kotsur.
Yeah.
And Troy Kotsur, he won Best Supporting Actor for the 2021 film Coda,
which I've not seen.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, after doing the research for this live stream tonight, I really want to see that movie.
Yeah. And he portrayed a deaf actor. He actually was a deaf actor. And it's interesting because he also co-starred with Marlee Matlin.
Yep, this was another movie Marlee Matlin was in.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, that was one of the major things about this film, was that they really they used deaf actors and actresses to portray the deaf characters,
which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
The film Coda itself also became the first Best Picture winner, featuring multiple deaf actors for major roles.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thought that was cool.
Some other really important people to keep in mind were people like Linda Hunt. Now, Linda Hunt's disability is called dwarfism. Basically, she's a little bit shorter than what is considered normal.
Or average.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting when I took a look at Linda Hunt's picture, because she has an uncanny likeness to Edna
in The Incredibles. Yep, yep. But and we were curious if she actually was the, what do you call it, the inspiration for that role.
Yeah.
And apparently, from all of the research that we did, we really couldn't find any major connection.
Yeah, from what I'm told, um, Edna was inspired by another person,
Yeah.
who maybe had a
I
similar
think they were like a
likeness.
costume designer or something,
Yeah.
weren't they?
I don't remember the name.
I can't remember
Yeah.
either.
But anyways, I just thought it was so ironic when I saw the picture. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were pretty convinced that she was, the inspiration, but as it turns out, no, just
Yeah.
I guess a coincidence.
Yeah. So she won Best Supporting Actress for The Year of Living Dangerously.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
I haven't seen
Have
that
you
one.
seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one
It's
either.
I think it's an older one, isn't it? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. We'll have to look it up though.
Yeah, but she also has like an arm length long resume when it comes to roles that she's played in
Yeah,
too.
she's had so many roles.
Yeah.
And one of them, if you're not familiar with who she is, she was pretty much everybody's seen Kindergarten Cop. And she was the principal
Oh yeah,
in Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That one was really good.
Yeah. All right. So who else we got notable?
And another guy. This one is a blind person.
Mm-hmm.
But he is like the coolest.
He is the bomb.
Yes. He's a blind musician, and he won Best Original Song.
Mm-hmm.
And the song was in the movie The Woman in Red, and the song was called
I just called to say I love you.
Yep, Stevie Wonder.
Yep. I
He-
love me some Stevie.
Oh yeah, it's kind of hard not to like his songs.
Mhm.
They are so ridiculously
Catchy
good.
and smooth and just,
Yes.
I don't know. I love Stevie.
Yeah. And also one other person is a child actor who was also deaf, who played in The Silent Child. She won Oscar for Best Live Action Short Film.
Mhm.
And her name is Maisie Sly, and the movie was called The Silent Child.
Yeah. And do you remember the year? This is pretty recent.
I
right?
think it was like in the teens.
Yeah.
Like
I want to
2011, 2012,
12, 14,
somewhere
somewhere
around
along in there. Yeah. So it's more recent than some of these other ones.
Yeah.
Although I think out of all the ones that we've discussed, probably Coda is the most recent, I think.
I really like Coda. I want to watch Coda.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. All right.
So you want to take this next one?
Yeah.
Negative portrayals of disability in film?
Yeah, we wanted to talk about the negative portrayals of disability in film because honestly, this one has bugged me a little bit over the years. But there are some common tropes or stereotypes of people with disabilities that we see repeatedly in the film industry. The first one, I guess, that was one of the most common ones initially, and that's the bitter disabled person. And if y'all know me in real life, you know that I'm not always the most politically correct person. I used to call it a crip with a chip, like a chip on their shoulder. And so I apologize if that offends you, but I've always called it a crip, crip with a chip. And it's the bitter disabled person who is angry at life about everything and they're resentful toward others.
Yeah.
One of the most popular examples that I can think of this one is in Forrest Gump, which I've already said is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it was Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know it's not Forrest.
No, Forrest is like the most happy-go-lucky person ever. But Lieutenant Dan, after he was injured, they portrayed him as just this bitter, angry, almost mean person. And
he was pretty bitter and angry before he was injured too.
Yeah, and that's what was sort of problematic, I think, with that role is that, he just did not portray it well. But that being said, I will say that there was a nice turnaround there at the end.
Yeah.
And I think, the way I reconciled that for myself is that maybe it was just a part of the grief
Yeah.
process. Because anytime that you suddenly lose some sort of ability that you had before,
Yeah.
there's grief
Yeah.
involved. And so I like to think that
Mhm.
that's just
Yeah.
the rationale, because we did see that sort of redemption or turnaround there at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we doing? Anything over there in chat?
No, but
I
thank
do
you
see
for
that
asking.
I do see that we've got some of you online.
Oh, yes.
Feel free to pop something in the chat if you're on. I know if you're watching on TV, you might not be able to, but um yeah. He's putting a little something there in the chat. All right. Feel free to pop your questions in the chat because we're trying to monitor while we're talking over here. All right, so that was the first common trope.
I think we lost somebody.
Uh-oh, we scared them. Maybe they'll come back.
Hopefully they'll come back.
Yeah. All right, so the second common trope
Mhm.
is the inspirational prop.
Yes.
And this type of character really just exists in a film to inspire the able-bodied characters. Um,
Oh, we lost everybody now. Wow. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, those individuals just exist to inspire
Yes.
able-bodied characters. And I was trying to think of a movie specifically.
I'm trying to think of one too where they just get the inspiration from the person.
Mhm.
I really don't I can't think of one offhand. I really
Yeah,
can't.
off the top of my head, I'm not super sure, but I do know I've seen that before, and that also seems to be like a spillover from real life, because a lot of us that deal with disability are often called inspirations. And
Mhm.
if you're inspired by the struggles of life and things that we all tend to go through, then that's good. But it's never fun to just be inspiring for doing normal things.
Mhm.
Like, I have to grocery shop like everybody else does.
Mhm.
So, that's not a super inspiring thing for me to just be out getting some, cabbage in the
Yeah.
produce section at Walmart, something like that. Anyway,
Ollie has arrived. She has left the house.
yes, imagine that. All right, so the third one, and this is my biggest beef.
Mhm.
This is my biggest complaint.
Yes.
And that is that the villain with a disability.
Mhm.
And when I really started, this has bugged me for years, when I would see a villain in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking and realizing it's not just wheelchairs. Usually the villain has either like a scar on their face.
Mhm.
They'll zoom in
Mhm.
close on the scar, and that's how it's the bad guy.
Yeah.
They'll have a missing limb.
Mhm.
They will be in a wheelchair, or they'll have some sort of facial difference or something like that. So, yep, there's that.
Yeah. And can you think of any examples of those?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I do give examples, though,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I just want to kind of, dig into a little bit more of what I mean by, villain with a disability. Like I said, they'll have some sort of disfigurement, a scar, an amputation, a mobility impairment. And like I said, they'll usually like zoom in on, something like that, or
Mhm.
pan into a pan across a certain, like the wheels of the wheelchair or something like that. And what those cues signal, as far as I can tell at least, is that this person is different, therefore they must be dangerous. And
Mm.
that's something that I have seen in movie after movie after movie after movie.
Mm.
It's very popular in like superhero type movies.
Yeah.
We see that a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And I think this is a particularly dangerous trope in
Yeah.
Hollywood, cinema, because let's just say, for example, you have a kid that you
Mhm.
take to a movie because they're super excited. They want to see the next superhero movie.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just say that the villain, like they commonly are, is in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
And they know from watching that movie that the bad guy is in a
Mhm.
wheelchair. And so, of course, the villain in a movie is supposed to be scary and bad
Yeah.
and supposed to be overcome, right? Well, then the movie's over. They go home. That's, they think it's the end of, the story. But then, like a week later, that family is in the store or in some other public place and they see a real person with a disability.
Mm.
What's the first thing that kid's going to think?
They must be
They're
dangerous.
going to
Yeah.
associate that. And I don't know that
And
some of,
yeah, and you remember that first impressions thing?
yes.
Like, even when you know logically that there's nothing to really be afraid of, you
Right.
still have that feeling.
Yeah, it's just that somebody's got a feeling, and it's usually planted,
Yeah.
and it almost, I'm not saying that it is, so don't y'all go say, well, Holly said this,
Yeah.
but sometimes it feels a little bit like propaganda.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see that change, but we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
Oops, I don't mean to
Is
roll.
there any specific examples that you want to share or not?
Well, I think one, like I said, a lot of the villains
Mhm.
in movies, for example,
If not, that's fine. We
no,
can move
it's
on.
okay. Well, we were talking about what is that?
Mhm.
It's Unbreakable, right?
Yeah, Unbreakable.
Yeah, and I don't remember if we were planning to talk about this later, but it seems
Oh,
like
I
a
was
good
going to
time.
talk later, but it's fine. You can talk about it.
Okay. Well, I won't say a whole lot now then since he's going to talk about that later. But yeah, what is it? Dr. Glass, Mr.
It's
Glass?
either Dr. Glass or Mr. Glass. Yeah, he's in a wheelchair part of the time because he's got weak bones.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's that things like that are just
Yeah.
not okay, to portray every villain as having some sort of
Yeah. And then
disfigurement.
I remember, and I know that this isn't a movie, this is a TV series. I remember watching The Flash.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was trying to get Holly turned on to Flash. And she's like, in the first season, the main villain's in a wheelchair.
Yep. Yep.
Most of the time.
Yep.
And then we get to season 4, and lo and behold, the villain's again in a wheelchair.
Yep. Yep. He's paralyzed from the neck down or something, and he can only move. I don't know that he was like injured. I can't remember the story. If he was just injured and had a spinal cord injury, or if it was some sort of disease.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but at any rate, he could only move really he could pretty much only talk.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, okay,
It's
so
like, do you have to keep using that stereotype over and over again?
Yeah, and how many seasons of The Flash were there?
I think there were 8 or 9, I think.
So I think we finally stopped watching after season 5 or something.
Well, I didn't like season 5. I don't like somebody who feasts on blood, so.
Yeah, that was pretty gross. But, of the seasons that we watched regularly, 2 out of the 5 had the main villain was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's just not okay, Hollywood.
Yeah, so have you ever noticed how often a villain is scarred, disabled, or disfigured?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of,
I think if I had time, I could come up with like an arm-long list of people with some sort of disfigurement or something like that. Something that sort of makes you feel uneasy about the person.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what that says about our society is really just that people are uncomfortable with disability. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Hollywood is a little bit skittish, So we're going to challenge that tonight. And Hollywood, step it up.
Yeah.
So, we do, with that being said, there are some areas where things are improving. There has been some progress in recent years, particularly in the area of authentic casting, like we had said.
Yeah, like Coda. They cast deaf actors for deaf roles.
And it won Best Picture.
It really did.
At the Oscars. So
yeah,
kudos for that.
And then those disability short films like An Irish Goodbye, the actor played Down syndrome, and The Silent Child had a deaf child actor.
Yeah. And one of the movies that we realized we had not included in our initial notes when we were kind of getting ready for tonight was, you want to talk about your favorite, the one that you mentioned?
What's that? My favorite what that I mentioned?
Your movie that you brought up that you were excited
Oh,
about.
yeah. I don't if you're looking for an example outside of the disability issue, one thing that I recognized is that in the 1960s,
Mm.
there was a movie that, well, it wasn't a movie. It was actually a special that CBS came up with, which was it's Christmas Charlie Brown or Charlie Brown Christmas, something like that, and in the 1960s, and it was phenomenal. Everybody loved it from what I've read.
Everybody still
Yeah.
loves it.
Yeah, and they still show it today. When I
Mhm.
was a kid, I was watching it back in the 1980s.
And if you missed one year
Yeah.
of getting to see it when it aired, because you had to be
Yeah.
at the TV when it was airing,
Yeah.
and if you missed it, you felt like you had just missed out
Yeah,
for
you
the
really
whole
did.
Christmas season.
And when I watched the documentary, and boy, I wish I had the citation information with me. But in this documentary, they said that they almost did not air Charlie Brown, even though they had already made it, produced it, and everything. It was ready to go. They almost did not air it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the issues that they had, they thought that it was going to flop. They didn't really say why they thought it was going to flop, but I had a feeling that what it was it went against a tradition. And the tradition that they had was they had adults cast as children characters in TV in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But now we were doing authentic children characters
Mm-hmm.
played by authentic children.
Yeah.
And the idea, and it actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
The children were able to say their lines and do everything that they were supposed to do, and they sounded like real children because they actually were real children.
Yeah, it was really authentic, and that was pretty cool. I think I read somewhere that another reason they almost canceled it and did not move forward with producing it was because there was a faith element, and y'all know our channel has a big faith element about it too. But because it talks about the Christmas story, Luke chapter 2, a lot of people did not know if, sharing that would make the impact that they had hoped. But yeah. So that's a good authenticity moment.
So authentic casting really works.
Authentic casting does work. Yeah, and that's all good, and I totally agree. But the one I was thinking about was Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh, I was going to get to that later.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right. We'll get to that later. But yeah,
okay.
We love Peanut Butter Falcon also. All right. So,
is disability present in the Oscars this year?
So, the truth is, I don't know. I did not get a chance to research as much as I had hoped about this. But what I do know is that disability themes are pretty rare among nominees. Most representation that we do see in the film industry is in documentaries. We do see some of that. And there's also some short films or some independent films and some occasional acting roles.
Yeah.
So very few major studios or studio films actually feature disabled actors in major roles. I'm not just talking about like a supporting role, but like a major role. And we would really like to see that happen.
Yes.
I'm even thinking about there is a movie that was based on a novel several years ago. Not super, super long ago, but I don't remember the year, but it was Me Before You.
Yeah.
And I'm probably stepping into a whole hornet's nest here because it seems like people either love that movie or they hated that movie. It was based on a novel by the same title. And what the basic essence of it was that there was this really well-to-do gentleman. He had been injured and he apparently had been a real jerk before he got injured.
Mhm.
And of course, when his whole life changed and he had to depend on other people, he just decided he didn't want to live anymore.
Mhm.
So he made plans to end his life
Mhm.
with physician assisted suicide. And his parents had brought in someone to help be his caregiver slash companion.
Mhm.
And she kind of changed, or at least thought that she had changed his outlook on life.
Mhm.
And, spoiler alert, if you have seen the movie, then, you know this already. But if you've not seen the movie, he decides, despite all of her efforts to show him that life was worth living, he still decides to end his life at a place in Switzerland, which, by the way, is actually a real place.
Mm.
And I'm not going to give the name of it here, but it is a real place. And that's been a really controversial topic, physician assisted suicide.
Mhm.
But I think what really bothered me most about this movie is that um, what it said to me.
Mhm.
I'd heard, oh, it's just the sweetest love story. Um, it was terrible
Mm.
because the overall picture that it was trying to portray was that, you know, if a person gets injured or has a disability, then all of a sudden life isn't worth living anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's better to just go ahead and kill yourself
Mm.
than to live what could have been a really great life.
Yeah.
And that bothers me because, that's just, it
Yeah.
just made me want to vomit, if I can be really honest.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Whenever suicide is presented in a positive light in a
Mm-hmm.
movie, I hate that movie.
Yeah, me too. We are, I'm a little afraid to step into this hornet's nest too,
Yeah.
but we are staunchly pro life. And that means at all ages and stages of life. And so we are definitely pro
Yeah.
life in terms of showing people that even someone, with disabilities, it's still, life is good.
Yeah. And your life matters too.
Yeah, life matters. And so to see a major, first of all, a novel that was extremely popular,
Mhm.
popular enough that they decided to make a movie about it,
Yeah.
or make a movie out of it, and then that was the movie that people were just fawning over.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just not okay.
Yeah.
And if you disagree, then I'm sorry. We all have the rights to our opinions, but
Mhm.
that's mine, and I'll stand
Yeah.
by it.
So, yeah, we found that very few major studios have disabled actors playing in major roles, even when that major role is a disabled character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, one of the things that we think Hollywood could do to make a much more positive step
Mm-hmm.
towards disability is to cast disabled actors in disabled roles.
Yeah. And this is really all about inclusion and representation
Mhm.
because folks with disabilities, we're out here, we're living life,
Yeah.
we're, doing all the things, we're living life. And we would like to see more representation in the film industry
Yeah.
of people just living life with a
Yeah.
disability.
Yeah.
But to do that, if you've got a character with a
Mhm.
disability,
Yeah.
let's have an actor with a disability that matches it play that role.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and another thing is that you could write where people who have a disability are normal people,
Yeah.
not people that are just twisted and angry or affected by tragedy or
Lurking in the
yeah,
shadows to get you.
or people that only are there to inspire others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we're kind of just out here living
Yeah.
life. So why not just have a movie with an incredible storyline
Yeah.
where the person just happens to be a person with a disability. They
Yeah.
don't necessarily, like, the focus of the movie doesn't need to be on disability.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs to be,
Yeah.
on a great storyline.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, just some examples, what if, like, my daily life is I teach for a university.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing that for 25 and a half years now. So, you could have, a teacher with a disability. You can have a lawyer in a wheelchair. I actually know one of those, a
Yeah.
lawyer in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
and a teacher with cerebral palsy,
Yeah.
or a scientist with SMA.
Yeah.
Have these individuals playing roles that are authentic. Write them
Yeah.
into the story just like they're just living their life.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm,
And another thing is Hollywood has a tendency to focus on only a few types
true.
of disabilities:
This is true.
blindness, deafness, and people with only like light mobility issues.
Yeah. If there's any mobility issue at all, um, you know, then you might see that. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to seeing people, you know, with more significant or more severe forms of
Hmm.
disabilities, you know, the real world has people like
Yeah.
that in it,
Yeah.
like us.
Like you could have SMA or people that are quadriplegic,
Hmm.
people that use power wheelchairs, or people who have maybe a little bit more advanced cerebral palsy issues or something like that,
Yeah.
but still are living full and meaningful lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to include these types of focal points, it really, I mean, Hollywood has done so much to shape society. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but people are definitely, influenced by movies.
Yeah.
They just are. So Hollywood has a tremendous opportunity
Yeah.
in front of them, in order to help shift the
Mhm.
way a disability is viewed. And they can either keep on showing us all as
Yeah.
right now,
Stereotyped.
yeah, or move on to something else.
Anything
So,
else that they Hollywood could do?
yeah, my pet peeve, and that's that they could avoid this whole villain disability trope. That is a big, big pet peeve. I've said that like how many times in this
Yeah.
live? Probably like 8 times already just now.
Yeah.
Um, Disability in a movie should not signal that a person is evil, or
Yeah.
that they're broken, or that they're bitter. It should just be.
Yeah. And the way I kind of look at it is kind of like this. Are there evil people with disabilities? Yes, there are. But there are plenty of evil people who have
Without
perfect
them.
hair and, are bodybuilders, and
Mm,
just look great. They look like Superman, but they're evil people still,
right.
you know? So, evil people don't just come in wheelchairs, they come in
Right.
all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Yep.
are
Yep.
men, some are women, some are tall, some are short, you know. They can be of any race, So,
Mm-hmm.
don't just say if they're in a wheelchair, they're evil,
Yeah.
or if they're this type of person, this type of disability, they're evil.
Or if they were disfigured in a fire,
Yeah.
they're automatically the bad guy, and this is
Yeah.
how you can tell. That's just so unoriginal.
Yeah, exactly. I think another thing that they could do that would be really helpful is we basically have said to everybody that Hollywood's not telling the truth.
That's
Okay?
true.
And
Boom, drop the mic.
yeah, and they could tell the truth a little bit better if they had disabled people who were writers or directors.
I agree. Fully
Yes.
agree with that. And why do
Help
you
them
think
be
that
part
is?
of conception,
You,
not just the production.
that's right. Right.
Yeah.
And so why do you think that would help? Like, how would that improve?
Well, simple, because a lot of people who have a particular disability will know implications that come as a result of that disability that other
Mm-hmm.
people will not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For example, a lot of people who have brittle bone disease, it sometimes will stunt their growth to a point,
Right.
but not everybody knows that,
Right. It's like osteogenesis imperfecta
Yeah.
is the name, and it's been featured in several movies.
Yeah. But then you have a person who has a similar brittle bone disease or something similar, and you see them standing like 7 feet tall, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
You know?
And this is like Dr. Glass, Mr. Glass, whatever.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to mention that, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, that's a good example, though.
Yeah.
You know, a real person who has osteogenesis imperfecta knows that typically, due to injuries or due to
Yeah.
the weakness of the bones, it is common that they would be shorter or have some, limb issues.
Mhm.
But then you've got someone like Samuel L. Jackson played Dr. Glass.
Yeah.
And he's in real life, Samuel L. Jackson. I looked it up, or you did one of us did. He's like over 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that possible for a person with osteogenesis imperfecta? Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe,
there's a lot
yeah.
of things that are possible,
Yeah. But, they just did not give a really,
Yeah.
what's the word? I hate to keep using the word authentic.
Yeah.
But they
It
really
wasn't an authentic representation in
Right.
many cases.
Right.
Another example would be, well, the movie Jaws, where they had the dorsal fin sticking out.
Yeah. Duh.
And then if you've ever seen the movie Soul Surfer, I've actually read the book Soul Surfer, which was really good book. And she said in that book that sharks don't hardly ever stick their dorsal fin out where everybody can see it.
Hey y'all, I'm coming. No. So it just. But speaking of, that was a great movie too.
Yeah, that was a good movie
But
too.
ironically, the person who played the girl, I forget her name, but the girl who did get her arm bitten off by a shark.
Mhm.
The actress who played her was not.
She wasn't disabled.
No, they like green screened her arm out or something like that.
I'm not certain exactly how they did it. I think that it was a green screen thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
But that actress had both arms.
But it was a good portrayal.
It was a good portrayal. It was a great movie. So if you haven't seen it, do watch it. But that was another example of a time that they could have had a disabled actress with, an amputee. That would have been great.
So, what movies do you think portray disability well?
I think Forrest Gump was a good one.
Yeah, Forrest Gump was really good.
That will forever be in my top 10, if not my top 5. I absolutely adore the movie Wonder.
Yes. That was one of my favorites too. Even though the actor would not have a disability, he really played that role well.
Yeah. I think that would have been even better if they really had an actor with that. I forget the name of it, but it was an actual disability. And if that had an actor with that disability or something very similar to play that role, that would have been great. But that was a fantastic movie. And what I liked about it is that while it was inspiring, and I know that can be a difficult thing, he wasn't just used as an inspirational prop. It actually showed his life
Well,
story.
he did inspire a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of people. It wasn't just the hero,
Yeah. He was. It was interesting because he was the main character. He wasn't just a sidekick. They shared his struggles. And they shared some of the things that he went through. Very real things that, as a person with a disability, I could relate to growing up on some level. Not exactly because the disabilities are different, but I could relate to him growing up as a kid. And
that was one of the best movies ever. And let me tell you something, if you haven't watched that movie, you got to watch it.
It's one that I could watch over and over. I have watched it a bunch of times. So it's a good movie. What about you?
One of my favorite movies. Now, this was a disabled character who was portrayed by a disabled actor. And I absolutely love it. And if you love wrestling, you're going to like this one as well.
Yeah.
Because it's got like a retired wrestler actor in it. And that is the movie The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, and he always yelled it, and we love that.
And it was portrayed by an actor who actually did have Down syndrome. And I mean, you could actually look at his eyes and tell, oh my gosh, he actually has Downs.
They used an actor with Down syndrome to play a character with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And it was
so
amazing.
Realistic.
It was so realistic, and it was so good. And as somebody who had both an uncle and a sister with Down syndrome, I found it to be particularly authentic. And I loved it.
When we were watching it, there was this one time where they do the escape scene. And then right after it, the social worker comes in and starts going over to the person who lives like right next to him. And she's like, how did he do that? And the guy looks at her and says, he's really strong. And I asked Holly, is that even true?
Yes. Yes. My sister, she might have been 4'10". She was very, very short, but she was so strong.
Yeah.
I mean, if she did not want to do something, you were not moving her. She was pretty stout. So yes, that is true.
I did not know that about people who had Down syndrome.
Yeah. So see, even you learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really neat, the wrestling scene. And then he still comes out on the end, even when people are cheating. So it worked out really good.
Yeah. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. There was a TV show, which this is not a movie, so it's a little off topic, but there was a TV show in the 1980s called, oh gosh, I had to bring it up and then forget it. That's what I get for being in my 40s. But Life Goes On. That's what it was called. Life Goes On. And
I'm sorry, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I loved it. We used to watch it. And there was a disabled actor, an actor with Down syndrome in that TV show. His name was Chris Burke. And I actually have not followed him in the last few years. So I'm not sure if he's still in the business or how he's doing right now. But we used to watch that TV show, and he played a character named Corky.
Okay.
It was a great TV show from what I remember. I just remember being really excited, even as a kid, to see a person with a disability in a starring role.
Wasn't there also another one called The Good Doctor? You told me about that.
Yeah. That's a fairly recent TV show. I think it's still running. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's called The Good Doctor. And the main character is autistic. But the person who plays him, the actor, is not, he is not autistic.
Okay.
But he plays an autistic character. And I think that was a really cool show because it really highlights the strengths that people with autism have. And that is the extreme intellect and ability to see things, so rapidly and thoroughly. So, all right. So, any other movies that you think, or you want to move on to our next question?
Yeah. What roles would you love to see Hollywood create?
Well, I'd like to see something about a normal middle-aged woman who has SMA and lives a regular, sometimes boring life.
Has anybody with SMA been portrayed in the movies? I can't remember.
Not that I've seen, actually. But Hollywood, if you're watching, I'm your girl.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other people who will be your girls and guys, feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
We'll hook you up. But no, seriously, I would like to see people in roles like that. I would like to see I especially would like to see people who are the heroes and heroines in movies, not the villains.
Yeah.
But again, not just super inspirational, but somebody who's just living their life.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of roles we want to see.
Sometimes there is inspiration in the ordinary. There
That's
really
true.
is.
And that's
Yeah.
true for people of all abilities and ages and
Mhm.
colors and creeds.
Yeah.
I like that. That sounds like a book title. Inspiration in the ordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, there really is. Um,
What about you?
so for
roles would
me,
you-
what roles would I like to see? Well, SMA for sure, but
Yeah.
anything else? Um, blindness to us. Um, well, to be honest, I think it's not so much the roles I'd like to see Hollywood create, but I really think that Hollywood has a really big opportunity
Hmm.
to make real disabilities a little bit more realistic by actually defining the disability.
Yeah, define it. Don't just have some ambiguous,
Yeah.
this person has a disability and therefore they're scary.
Yeah.
Have a real
Kind of
definition.
kind of like I felt with Forrest Gump. Not to say that Tom Hanks did a bad job. Tom Hanks knocked it out of the park.
He knocked it out. Yeah.
But I felt like the writers who did Forrest Gump could have actually defined the disease and simply
Or the
instead of
condition.
simply calling it your son's different, you know?
Right. We didn't. I mean, by that definition, aren't we all different?
Yeah, we're all different
We're
to
all
some
different,
degree.
you
Yeah.
know. So it would have been nice to know more specifics, and
Yeah.
maybe Hollywood does that, so they think it's more generic, and therefore it might apply to more people. I don't know, but it would be nice to have it
Yeah.
defined.
But if you're generic, you're making it a little less real, you know?
I agree. It needs to be real.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I think that that's something that should be done because otherwise you could have one person with like 5 different disabilities and it's like their disability keeps changing as you go along.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of like I used to love to watch. What is that TV show? Wasn't it Magnum PI?
Uh-huh.
Where this never made sense to me.
Yeah.
And if you are a real person with a disability, you'll get this. Okay. But they had this one episode in Magnum PI where, the one of the characters who, you know, she
Yeah.
wasn't the villain, but she was a victim, I believe.
Yeah.
And she was blind and she was in a power wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Because she never had, like a cane so she could, feel her way around, but yet she had a power wheelchair. So I'm like, she couldn't really see where she was going, but there
So
was
it's like,
no.
what's a blind person doing with a power wheelchair?
Yeah, it's like she couldn't. So it's like they didn't portray either blindness or a physical disability.
Yeah.
Immobility. They didn't portray either of those properly.
Yeah.
They just kind of lumped them together. And I always wondered, did they really think about that?
Yeah.
It's
like steer me into the wall,
And so, the storyline was that she accidentally steered herself into the pool. And
yeah.
That's just not a realistic portrayal of disability.
Yeah. I read in one TV series, I read in a book which discussed one TV series one time where to test whether somebody really had a disability or not, they threw them into the pool. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people with real disabilities who can swim,
Yep.
So throwing them in the pool doesn't mean that and they don't have a disability.
Like a diagnostic.
Yeah.
That's a great diagnostic tool. Let's try that. Let's throw in the water and see if you sink.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And that was one thing that I never understood. I mean, seriously, you want us to convince us that somebody is so lazy that they're going to pretend that they have a disability for like 18 years or longer and they just fool everybody?
That's not realistic either. That only happens in The Flash. If you are Harrison Wells and you're pretending to be disabled for an entire season until you show yourself as the bad guy. Good grief.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like nobody has an off day. They're just that good,
Yeah, I know. Right. So,
what's the best portrayal of disability you've seen in a movie? I think we talked about this some, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of like repeating this question, so I think we can.
Oh, this is actually for the viewer. So, hey, I see there's 4 people here, and it's
Mhm.
so good to have y'all. And so, if you'd like in the chat, could you please put what the best portrayal of a disability you've seen in a movie is?
Yeah, that's a great question. Go ahead and answer that. What is the best portrayal of disability that you've seen in a movie? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. It got quiet. Dead air here.
Don't feel intimidated if you don't want to share. That's fine. We really don't mind, but we do want to include you, or at least have an invitation for you to be included.
Yeah. And here's another question if you don't want to answer that one, or maybe you just want to think about some other ones. Should disabled roles always be played by disabled actors? What do you think? Go ahead and drop something in the chat. Or if you're viewing this video later, I know some people will view this later, after the live stream is over and it becomes just a regular video. You can answer the questions in the comments.
Yeah.
Should disabled roles always be played by disabled actors? I mean, I have my opinions on that. And I think that, my answer on that is when possible, yes.
Yes.
And if there's just no one who is truly qualified, to play that role, then train somebody with that disability. I firmly believe that it can be done.
Yeah. I think generally speaking, disabled characters should be portrayed by disabled actors. I'm not saying in every case, because there's a possibility where somebody acquires a disability over time,
Right.
and it's kind of hard to go back to the way things used to be.
Right. It would be hard to find someone to.
Although Hollywood has no shortage of lookalike people.
Yeah, and body doubles.
Yeah.
So, if they do that for stunt people, surely they could do that for.
Yeah, I actually watched a movie one time where the main character was changed 4 times in the same movie.
Really?
Yeah, but you could still tell who the character was, even when 4 different actors were playing him.
That's pretty crazy.
That's weird.
That's wild. So another question that we have that, you could drop in the comments or, answer in the chat if you would like. And that is, what stereotypes bother you the most in movies? And just to kind of, widen the pool a little bit, because we've been talking specifically about disabilities, but let's just say it's a stereotype, period.
Yeah.
I could also say, I don't like stereotypes about chubby people, because your girl's a chubby chick over here.
Yeah.
I don't like, my hair used to be more blonde than it is now, but I don't like, the dipsy blonde type things. Those are stereotypes I don't like, in addition to the disability ones. What about you?
Well, obviously there's the bald stereotype.
Yeah, a lot of villains are bald too. But not always.
Like Lex Luthor,
Luthor. Yep. But then there's really good, bald ones too. Like, what was his name?
There was a bald superhero of some sort, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah.
At least you're not purple like Thanos. Wasn't that his name, or was he green?
Yeah, I think he was purple. You're talking about the Marvel.
Yeah.
It was, what was it called? Endgame?
Yes.
Endgame.
The Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. Yeah. He was like a crazy dude. It was like, how many times do you have to kill him until he's dead?
Yep. But he was bald and purple. He was purple.
Yeah. And he had a really big double chin.
Yeah. It was a very unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yep. So anyway, I guess.
I think one of the stereotypes that bothered me, I think we've already mentioned, was the villain's always disfigured in some way.
Yeah.
Whereas in real life, I've seen a lot of very good looking people that were like super smooth, who were very twisted inside.
Well, a lot of criminals, that are actually arrested for real crimes.
Yeah.
Managed to commit their crimes because they were so charming.
Yeah.
And so, otherwise perfect looking. And that that is not a good indicator of a person's character.
And we're not saying that if you're good looking, you're evil, because there's
No.
plenty of good people out there that are good looking too, you know.
Yeah, but neither, if you have a disability, are you automatically evil.
Yeah. Evil really comes in all shapes and sizes. It's kind of hard for me to peg a certain group of people and say, they're the bad ones,
They're the bad ones.
Because the reality is every single person has the propensity to become either good or evil.
Yeah, we're all prone to the sin nature.
Yeah.
So we wrap it back toward faith because we've actually been going for a little over an hour now.
Yeah.
So we should probably wrap up pretty quickly so people could go about their Friday evenings. But
I will wrap them up.
We hope that this has been fun for you guys. I've had fun. Have you had fun?
I have had a lot of fun.
Me too. I like this topic because it has the potential to have real world impact. And I think that this is something that's greatly needed. And we need to discuss it. We need to talk about it. We need to have Hollywood decide to jump on the boat with us. Because, all I got to say is this. Eventually somebody's going to start understanding that this is important. Somebody's going to do it. And we're on the train. And the train's leaving the station with or without you. So come on and hop on board.
I think this is one of the things I really like about YouTube, because anybody, literally anybody, can post a video.
This is true.
And that means that people who have disabilities have a much more equal playing field.
Yeah.
They don't have to constantly ask for permission from people who think they know it all, who might know some, but definitely don't know it all.
Right.
And constantly be rejected. You can just put it out there and have the general audience decide if they will accept it or reject it. And I really like that about YouTube. So a real big kudos to YouTube for helping to level the playing field, whether they wanted to or not. I really think that has been a big thing.
I agree. People can jump on the YouTube platform and be able to share regardless of their disability or not, or their age, from the very young to the very advanced in age. One of my favorite YouTube creators is a man who is now 82 years old. He started his channel at 80. So Mike, if you're watching, we are enamored. We love you, and we're excited to be able to watch your channel. And I'm in full agreement that, with YouTube, you don't have to wait. And I'm just saying this as a person with a disability to every other person with a disability out there. You don't have to wait for Hollywood to choose you. You have everything within you that you need to start making an impact from right where you are. So you hop on your camera, you get your microphone going, and you start live streaming on a random whatever night you want to, start streaming. You don't have to wait to be chosen.
This is actually my first experience hosting a live stream. Holly hosted it back in January.
I'm gonna let you do it the next time. I like this better.
I like this. But also, as far as what we've explained so far, Hollywood has a movement in it that I think has been a big help, like especially with movies like Coda, where they have actually started involving disabled actors and provided a greater deal of authenticity. And I definitely appreciate that and hope that we see more of that in the future, a lot more of it in the future.
Me too. I like the direction.
But I also feel Hollywood has much to improve on.
I agree. And so I don't want to end the live stream sounding like we're totally bashing Hollywood. So I don't want to come across that way. I don't want to be that bitter disabled person.
Or that bitter able-bodied person. Like, there are none of those in the world, huh?
Right. So I really do want to kind of leave with an affirming idea that, yes, I think that what you say is good. We're headed in the right direction. but
And
we have a
let's
long way
hope
to
we
go.
stay there too.
Yes, let's keep moving in that direction.
Mhm.
Coda was filmed, or well, I don't know when it was filmed, but it was released in 2021.
Mhm.
And so that's been 5 years ago.
Mhm.
It's about time we had some more Oscar nominees and Oscar winning
Mhm.
movies with real people with real
Yes.
disabilities for real representation
Yeah.
in not just the movie industry, but media in general.
Yeah. And quit replaying or rehashing the same stereotypes over and over and
Yeah,
over again.
that's old. That's not original. So
Yeah.
it's time to get original by showing people just living their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good wrap. What do you think?
I
Any?
think so too. And thank you all for watching. We really appreciate you all for coming out, and we hope you have a great day.
Yeah, and for all of you who will see this later, you might not be live with us right now, but when you see this later, hey to y'all too. Thanks for stopping by, and we look forward to seeing how we can all make a difference together.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.